Today in this tutorial, we are going to learn how to read and use the dataset in the Seaborn library. So Seaborn library is basically used for the data visualization in Python, and it is very important library if you are starting your path in data analytics or data science. Now this help you to basically visualize the data. So when you want to start your practice in Seaborn library, the first thing is how to load a data. And at the initial stage, I recommend you to use the dataset which is provided by the Seaborn library itself. Seaborn has loaded a lot of dataset inside the library itself. So you don't need to look for a data outside. You just take the data which is available inside the Seaborn library, try to visualize it and try to understand it. So first what we are going to do, first we are going to import the Seaborn library as SN. So wherever I write SN, that means I'm calling a Seaborn library. You need to install the Seaborn library if you're working in a Jupyter notebook or you are working in a other IDL. You need to install it first. So how to install it? The simple command is basically the pip install Seaborn. So this will basically install the Seaborn library for you. As I'm working in a Google Colab, I don't need any installation for Seaborn library. It is pre-installed in basically Google Colab. So I also recommend you to work in Google Colab. It will be very simple for you to work in Google Colab. No installation is needed. So you will not be trapped into the installation error and other problems. Okay, so import Cburn as SN, and I'm going to get all the names of a data set which is created by Cburn community. Okay, so let's run this. So when I run this, it is going to tell me what are the different data set they have. They have the data set called attention, brain network, car crashes, diamond, then exercise, flight, okay, then Irish dataset, they have Penguin dataset, they have Planet dataset, they have Tips, Titanic dataset. Every dataset which is mentioned over here are inbuilt in the Seaborn library. So we don't need to look for any Excel file, or we don't need to look for any Word file or the other text file to basically load the data. Okay, normally what we do, we have an Excel file, CSV file, or the Word file to load the data. But here we don't need to do that because the data is inbuilt. Now this inbuilt data is very much useful at the initial stage to basically make your visualization more logical. So I recommend you to go for this kind of a data set, which will be very much effective for you. So let's go and try to understand this. So data sn.load tips. I'm going to use a data called as a tips over here. So let's see how the data will look like. So every time you just need to write a data set name over here. Like I have written here tips. If you don't want to practice on a tips, you can take a Titanic, Control C, and you can just copy paste over here, Control V, and your Titanic data set is ready. Okay, you guys, you just need to read this and take a meaning out of it. Okay, so let me take my old data set itself, tips. So I'm going to tell you what this tips data set is all about. So there is a total bill is given of the customer. The tip paid by the customer is given in this data set. Uh, the gender is basically given, male and female. Whether they are smoker or not smoker, that is given. The day which they visited the restaurant, it is given. The time for the I think lunch and dinner is given, and the size is given. That means how many people have visited on that day. Suppose the first person is basically a female. She came, or she was non-smoker. She came on Sunday for a dinner. So might be a couple might have visited, or two friends might have visited on that day. Then we have a male non-smoker Sunday dinner. So might be a husband, wife, and a child has visited on that day. So this way the data is given, and there are 244 rows and 7 columns of the days here. Okay, you can load any data set and you can start practice. So I'm going to show you some of the commands which basically help you to understand the data more. So when you write head, it is going to show you first 5 readings. So this helps us to understand how the data is actually look like. When you want to see more data, you can just write down here 10. So it is going to show you the 10 number of data, first 10 number of data. Okay, this help you to see the columns name and the data which is available over here. When you write a tail, it is going to show you the last 5 readings of the data. Okay, and this is also, suppose if I take a 10, it is going to tell me the last 10 data which is available. Now, sometimes this data which is coming in a serial wise is not logical enough to understand the data set properly. So the best way is to go for a sample. When you write a sample, it is going to show you the random data from the data set. So when you write 10, 10 different samples will be shown, 5, then 5 different random data will be shown over here. So you can understand the data very well when you use a head, tail, and the sample. Now, when you want to check the shape of the data, that is also possible. 244 rows, comma, 7 columns are available. When you check for the info of the data, it is basically going to show the column's name, whether it is a null or not null. Not non-null means all data are present. It is going to tell you the data types of the data also. Here we have the categorical type of data, that is male and female, smoker yes and no, that's categorical data. Then day, that is dinner or lunch, the categorical data. Then time, afternoon. Oh, okay, let me check. Okay, dinner and lunch. Day is Saturday, Sunday. Okay, and size is basically the integer data 2, 3, 4, 5. The bill and the tips is a float data. Great. So now when you describe the data, it is going to show you the count. 244 is a count. It is going to take only numerical data. When you describe the data, it's going to take only numerical data, not categorical data or the objective data, object data. What is the mean bill? What is the tips? And what is the size? This is not going to make a sense because size 2.5 does not make any sense. Okay, what is the standard deviation? What is the minimum value? What is the 25% of the value, 50% of the value, maximum value, and the 75% of the value you can see. So size does not make any sense in this, but tips and bill will going to make a sense. Okay, great. So let's check the data type which is available. You can see already in the info it is available, but if you want to check it separated, it is possible. You can check whether it is null or not null. Any data is null. If any data is null, it is going to show you some values over here. But all the data are present. That's why it is showing 0, 0, 0 over here. Data.column will going to show you all the column names of the data. Okay. And is null, when you check, it is going to show all the false. False means is this data is null? False means this data is not null, it is present. Okay. I'm going to show, check the count of each the data which is available. You can see 244 is all data which are available. Here is no data is missing. That's why the value is 244 is coming. 244 rows and 244 data. Now I'm going to describe only tips instead of describing all the data in the describe, because the size is not going to make any logic over here. Size is number of people coming up. 2.5 people cannot come. So this not make any sense to us. So better to go for a describe particular part of a column, like tips I can describe or total bill I can describe. This makes my a very logical way of understanding the data. Okay. Now the tips dot value count. You can see the tips $2 or 2 rupees or something like that is been paid 33 times. Okay, 2.81 is basically presented one time and so on. Instead of head, if you want to check the number of rows like this 0 to 10, it is going to show 0 to 9 all first 10 data. That is also possible. So this way you can basically load any data set you want. Like I'm going to show you here. I'm just going to load a Titanic data set. Okay, quickly. and go to the run and run all option. So it is going to show everything about, okay, this is not available over here. So this is going to show through an error because the tips name is not available. Let's take some other data over here. Like we can take the age as a data, and let's describe the age. Now it is okay. Okay, great. So here also we are going to put age. That would be a better idea. And you can see the data is coming up. See here, everything is been available the same way. Every time you change the data name, data set, and you can visualize the data with the same commands. You can understand this is the Titanic data set of the survival or not survival people. Okay, so this is going to show you or tell you a lot of things about data, and this way the Seaborn inbuilt data you can use. There are so many data sets being provided by the Seaborn community, so use this data for at the initial stage to understand the data set very well. After that you can take a different data which is a live data or a data which is from different website to make the data visualization very effective way.